This is real footage of Gaza food markets, July to August 2025.
This revelation really deeply shocked me. It's not a surprise that tech companies, and especially Google and Amazon, which are so heavily invested in the Israeli military through Project Nimbus, are aligning more and more with the rhetoric of the Israeli government and with their propaganda needs. But still, the fact that Google would take on this contract that's very explicitly named as Hasbara or propaganda, while there's such a horrendous famine going on in Gaza, is actually just truly heartbreaking. Google is the largest ad network in the world. Not only YouTube, but Google search ads, as well as Google ads that are embedded across other websites. The fact that Google's taking on this massive and clearly so biased and false ad campaign means that a huge portion of the world will be shown these ads. It's really hard to hold companies like Google accountable. Not only are they monopolies, but they're international, so they aren't necessarily tied to a single nation. However, they're also vulnerable in that way, in that individual nations taking actions can affect the company globally. I think the recent UN report on corporate roles in the genocide in Gaza is an extremely important start. The report calls for the company's technology to be regulated as dual-use technology, meaning that not only does it provide a civilian use case, but it provides very clear military use cases and needs to be regulated accordingly. However, I'm also not willing to rely solely on international human rights institutions in order to hold these companies accountable. I believe that tech workers have a really critical role in expressing dissent and in resisting building the technology that's used to spread Israeli propaganda and used to further the genocide in Gaza. I see the path towards accountability for these tech companies being twofold. Not only does it have to come from above via the institutions of international human rights, the UN, as well as individual nations taking responsibility for regulating the technology that is built by tech companies there, but it has to come from the bottom up, where tech workers and communities that have an investment and a stake in Google are resisting and pushing back and really pressuring Google to drop these contracts, to pull support for the Israeli government, and to live up to the values that they claim to uphold.